What's good, everybody? It's your boy, the Q-Tip, and we're back with another video. This is day 9. Yes, day 9 of, we're just going to call it Q-Tip Miss because I can't think of anything else. If it sucks, it sucks. Doesn't matter. Today we're talking about really just in general, Power 5 conferences, who I think will win each conference regular season-wise, not necessarily the postseason / big tournament or the conference tournament that everyone plays in at the end of the season. Before we start, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Check out everything that we're doing over here. I feel like I say the same thing every time, so I'm gonna try to switch that up a little bit, but I think you guys understand it by now if you're a person that comes back and watches videos. But yeah, let's get straight into it. I don't got a lot of time. Well, I do have a lot of time, but you may not have a lot of time. Whatever. Start with the ACC because we're going to just go in alphabetical order. The ACC is really interesting because they don't have like a clear-cut team that's like, okay, this is the team that everyone's chasing. I feel like everyone's just chasing the same goal. You know what I mean? And in some conferences, you have teams that are chasing a top team or a certain team. Like, okay, if we can compete with this team or if we can beat this team, we can reach our ultimate goal. But the ACC, it's so up in the air between North Carolina, Notre Dame, Louisville, even a Duke. And again, like, well, I don't say again, but with conference records are different than your overall record. So Duke is 4-6 right now. Florida State is 4-7. But if they go, I don't know, 13-4, 14-4 or something in conference play, that gives them, you know, a 1 or 2 or a good chance of winning the conference. So what you do in non-conference matters, but in terms of just conference itself, it doesn't really play that huge of a factor in terms of record, at least. Syracuse is also really good. I like what they've done with Layla Feely and Dominique Darius. For them, and kind of a few of these teams, like North Carolina, I think is a better offensive team than Syracuse and probably a better all-around offensive team than Notre Dame. Louisville is kind of like in the middle of the pack. I feel like in terms of offense, like the ACC is interesting because they don't have, like, outside of Hannah, they don't have like elite players that are like, okay, we have this player and this team doesn't. NC State, I would argue, is probably the team with the most talent on it and has the best chance of winning this conference if it comes down to talent for talent type of thing. And again, this is another situation where your regular record doesn't matter. Your overall record doesn't matter. It's your conference record. And they're 6-4, but they've played a really tough non-con schedule. So I expect them to battle back, get back into rankings, and be atop the ACC. If I do like what Virginia Tech can possibly do. I don't know, man. The ACC is probably one of the more difficult ones to choose just because not everyone is super consistent. You know what I mean? Like, they're all good teams. Well, I don't say they're all good teams. There's a lot of good teams in the conference, like even Stanford, I think is really good. But on a night-to-night basis, I don't know who I trust the most. Like, if I had to choose, I'd probably choose NC State because they played the toughest schedule and they've won the last couple of years. Like, they've won a lot over the last couple of years in these situations where you might not know who's going to come out of the ACC, and they find a way to do it. Even when they had Elisa Cunane and Perez and all those guys or players. But yeah, I don't know. Like, North Carolina is probably the safe bet. But if I'm betting, I'm probably going to bet on NC State coming out and winning at least the regular season part of it. The postseason, again, I don't know. We'll talk about that when we get there. Big 12. I feel like this has like 3 or 4 teams that are like, all right, you're just battling out against each other, essentially. Obviously, you got TCU, you got Iowa State, you got Baylor. And Oklahoma State looks really good. I like what I've seen from them so far. Bringing in some transfers and getting that thing rolling. And I'm interested to see how they play against the Baylors, the Iowa States, the TCUs this season. Even Arizona State, 11-0 So that's another thing that they're going to have to look at. West Virginia had a crazy win over Duke when they had like 5 players. So the Big 12 is not, just a pushover conference. I think there's 4 to 5 teams that have a really good chance of winning it. I love Iowa State. Been a believer of Iowa State for the last 3 to 4 years. I think TCU looked really, really good. Baylor's defense, Talia Scott on offense, like this is where this is the conference and this is the type of teams that have that elite talent. TCU has Olivia Miles. Iowa State has Audie Crooks, Addie Brown, even Jada Williams after last night's game. Baylor has Talia Scott. Like, you have to have one of those players at least if you want to feel really, really good about your chances in conference play and non-con and in March and things like that. And TCU, Iowa State, and Baylor all have those. Now, I won't say Oklahoma State doesn't. They just don't have, like, the household name elite talent. But I do think they have enough combined to battle with those teams. It's just like if you get to a last couple minute situation or it's like you need a big shot, who are you relying on? Because Iowa State knows where they're going. Baylor knows where they're going. TCU knows where they're going. So that's really what's going to come down to. And Arizona State is just like, can you keep it up in the conference play? It's the biggest thing for them. This is tough because I really like Iowa State, but what I've seen from TCU has been really, really impressive. I'm going to go with TCU. I know Audie Crooks is going to be really hard to guard for all of these teams. After seeing her last night, again, I didn't think Iowa would allow her, and I don't want to say they allowed her. I didn't think she would have a huge game against Iowa. I thought they would try to play her a little differently, and I thought they played her pretty well. It's just she's a really hard player to guard. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't go against her because I don't think TCU has the bodies to guard, but I also feel like TCU has the defense and the offense to combat what Iowa State likes to do outside of Audie Crooks. And they have enough offensive firepower where their post players can step out and shoot the 3 and make her play on the perimeter. So I'm going to go with TCU still, but Iowa State is a very, very, very close second. Like, if you ask me in a week or two, I might switch. But these are my final predictions because I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. And I said I would come back before conference play officially started, which it has started, but it hasn't like officially started. So yeah, I would say TCU first place, Iowa State second place, Baylor third place, Oklahoma State fourth place. At least that would be like, I guess, the seeding in the tournament. I didn't do that for the ACC, so I'll do it for the ACC. NC State first place. I'll go Louisville. Now I'll go North Carolina second place, Louisville third place. Syracuse fourth place? Nah. Syracuse fourth place. Actually, Virginia Tech fourth place. You know what? Stanford, Notre Dame, Syracuse are in there somewhere, like 4 to 6 range, 4 to 7. Do I have to talk about the Big East? Respectfully, like, I think everybody knows who's going to win the Big East. Like, shout out to Villanova, shout out to Creighton, shout out to Marquette, but it's UConn. But no, there's no but. I was about to try to be like super optimistic, but there's just, I just did a video asking if UConn was going to go undefeated. If I can't ask that question, if I feel like they might not win, because they'd have to lose multiple games to not win the conference, unless that other team goes undefeated and beats UConn. But they'd probably have to beat them twice. No. Then we have the Big Ten. This one, well, I was gonna say this might be the most difficult one, but SEC is probably the most difficult one. I think Big Ten might be the most difficult. Oh my God! So the Big Ten these are all the ranked teams that they have currently as we speak. This is December 11th, Thursday. They have UCLA, Michigan, Maryland, Iowa, Nebraska, USC, Ohio State, Michigan State, and Washington. Now, Washington lost to USC, so they'll probably fall out. Iowa lost, but they'll stay in. They'll probably fall to like, I don't know, 16. Because, I mean, it was a close game. The Big Ten is very, very interesting. Like, the easy answer is to say UCLA. And I probably will still go UCLA, but I love what I've seen from Maryland so far. Kayleen Schmeichel's injury and Leah Bartown, honestly, I think it's going to hurt them probably eventually. If they can get Bree McDaniel back at some point, I think that helps them in the backcourt position. But there's a lot on Sayla Poffenbarger's shoulders. Aluchi Akano's shoulders now, in terms of being like those front court players. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Michigan, I don't even know why I didn't say Michigan. Michigan is definitely. Oh man, it's I even like Minnesota, and Minnesota's not ranked, but they just played Maryland super well. I mean, they had the game. They were up 9 with like 30 seconds left, and ended up losing in double overtime at home. So the Big Ten is very, very tough. I think this is the best conference. I don't think USC is going to have enough firepower offensively to beat Michigan's and UCLA. I think they can beat Iowa. I think they can probably beat a Maryland. If Washington's offense can get a little bit more consistent with their defense, I think they have a really good chance as well. But I'm gonna go UCLA 1, Michigan 2, Maryland 3. I'm gonna go USC 4, Minnesota 5, Iowa 6. I don't know why I kept going, but I felt like some of those other teams needed to just be said. And then we have, is that 4? We have Big East, ACC, Big 12, Big 10. Yep. And then we have the SEC. If I can find it. There it is. Goodness gracious. Okay. So they have Texas, which Texas does not technically, they didn't get that win. That win over South Carolina didn't count as a conference win. So South Carolina is good in that sense, is they don't get an early conference loss, because it was a turn, or I guess it was players era, so it wouldn't count against them. You got Texas ranked, South Carolina ranked, LSU ranked, Oklahoma ranked, all in the top 10, by the way. All 4 of those teams are in the top 10. And then you have Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Tennessee, all ranked between 14 and 18. You still have teams like Alabama, Florida. I mean, the SEC is going to be really interesting because really, if we're really looking at, there's 5. Did I say 5? 4. 4 top teams, 4 powerhouse teams that are going to be battling it out. Like those Texas, LSU, Texas, South Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma, LSU. Those games are going to be tough. Like, and this is not disrespect to Vanderbilt or Kentucky or Ole Miss. It's just those other teams have just firepower on offense, and Ole Miss doesn't really have that. Now, granted, Ole Miss is a team that has phenomenal defense that Coach O is always going to bring great effort, but in big games, you're always going to need like a spark. Unless you can really shut another team's water off completely, it's going to be really tough to beat them. I would say Kentucky, their offense is pretty good. Can their defense hold up against these top teams? Vanderbilt, Michaela Williams, we all know about her. Can players outside of her step up in the big games? Tennessee, consistency is the thing for them. Because, I mean, in terms of talent, they're up there with the top teams in the conference. So this is I said the Big Ten was probably going to be the toughest conference. This is probably the best conference, though, because you have 4 teams that are top 10 teams, whether or not they lose to each other, I still think those are top 10 teams. Like, I think Oklahoma, regardless, top 10 team. LSU, regardless, top 10 team. Same for South Carolina, same for Texas, and those are 2 and 3 right now. But because I think Texas and South Carolina play twice. I think they play 2 more times, but I think LSU plays South Carolina just once, and I think they play Texas just once as well. So it really is going to come down to like head-to-head matchups and like who loses to who and who's going to end up having tiebreakers, because I don't think anyone goes undefeated in the SEC. That would be crazy if one of these teams were to go undefeated. Like, I just don't, I can't see that. All these teams are just too talented. Even the teams that we don't necessarily think of could get you on any given night. So, I mean, history says pick South Carolina, but I don't even want to say the last year, because South Carolina ended up beating them multiple times last season and in the Final Four. But I don't know, man. Texas has a confidence about them right now, and it'll be kind of difficult to knock them off that horse, because they have, I don't want to say they have everything, but they're damn close to having everything. Like, they have the elite scorer, they have the point guard, they have the scoring outside of Matty Booker, they have the size, they have the defense, they have the pace. LSU has really good defense, has phenomenal offense, like top 3 offense probably. South Carolina, we all know, great defense, elite defense. Offense, I think, is still trying to find its way. I think once they get a rhythm of like really figuring out what they're going to be as an offense this season, it'll get a lot more. There'll be a lot more continuity with South Carolina's offense, but the defense is always going to be there. Oklahoma, I've been impressed with what I've seen from them this year. Even though they had the loss to UCLA, I think that helped them, having that game so early. And I like what I've seen from Aaliyah Chavez. I think she's learning to play at her own pace, but also play the style and play the brand that Oklahoma wants. And Jenny Bronchek says, like, she tells Aaliyah to shoot more, which, if you can tell her to do that, you got to live with the results, make her miss. So, but I love what I've seen from Reagan Beers, Peyton Verhulst, Sahara Williams, Zaya Van. Like, I think, well, Oklahoma is just like the late game situations. Like, can they find somebody that is elite? Because Texas is going to have Madison Booker, even Rory Harmon, from what we saw against South Carolina. LSU has Malaysia, Flau'jae, Michaela Williams. South Carolina has Tanaya Latson, Tessa Johnson, Joyce Edwards. Oklahoma has really great players that I'm really, really high on, but we haven't seen them as much in like late game situations. Like, okay, we need the ball in their hands. Like, can they go get a bucket type of thing? You know what I mean? I'm gonna go. I feel like you just have to go with South Carolina until you're proven wrong. Like, it's like it's one of those teams. Like, you just have to keep saying it. Like the Chiefs in the NFL. Like, you got to say the Chiefs until it's not the Chiefs. And maybe that's the wrong way to go about it this year. Maybe this isn't the same South Carolina, but I'm willing to bet that it is. I think they're a good enough team if they're healthy. Obviously, they don't have Chloe Kitts, so they won't be fully healthy. But if they can get a Got McKeer back, I think they're in good shape. But Texas, I don't know. Texas looked really, really good. And I think they won both of those games without Aaliyah Crump. Like, they beat UCLA and South Carolina without Aaliyah Crump, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure. I might go Texas. Y'all can see, like, I'm kind of just like talking out loud here. Like, I'm not even like really making content at this point, which this might be a bad video, honestly. But I think I'm gonna switch and go with Texas. I think Texas is 1. South Carolina is 2. I think they might split. If they play twice, I think they split. I think South Carolina beats LSU. I think Texas beats LSU. I think LSU and Oklahoma, if they play twice, I think they could split. If they play once, it's a toss-up. Depends on where they play. So I would go Texas 1, South Carolina 2. I'm going to go Oklahoma 3, LSU 4, Tennessee 5, Kentucky 6, Ole Miss 7, Vandy 8. Golly, bro, that's crazy. Like, yeah, like their conference tournament is gonna be like a bloodbath. Like your first game is gonna be tough. Like typically, and it's no disrespect, but typically if you have a top 4 seed, your first game is rather easy after the bye. Not rather easy, but it's a game that you should win. Not necessarily in the SEC, even in the Big Ten. So it's gonna be really interesting to see all these play out. Let me know what you think about each conference. If I'm wrong, if I'm tripping, let me know. I'm not, opposed to saying, okay, I got that wrong. And if I come back in March and this is all completely wrong, then it's all completely wrong. It's just analysis based off what I've seen, predictions based off what I've seen, and I'm not perfect. I'm not a robot. I'm a human, so I am wrong from time to time. Not that often. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching.